Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elder Trolls Gaming Podcast. If you're new, we are three brothers who get together. We talk about gaming, and we talk about tech, TV, movies, other things that are geeky and nerdy too. I am Take It Easy Jono. With me, we have
Nasty Date.
And Dandolph the Wise.
That's correct. That is correct, Wendy. And today we'll be talking about sim games and are they fun? Specifically, 3 sim games that we got off of Game Pass. So these games are available on Game Pass. And are they actually fun? And we chose Microsoft Flight Simulator, of course. Farming Simulator 2022, because we know you've always wanted to try it. You've hovered over it, but never installed it. It's okay, we know. And Train Sim World 3, because why not? We're adults and, you know, we can play with trains if we want. But first, how's it going, guys? It seems like it's been a long time.
I am so tired.
Me too.
I'm very tired. I've got a day ahead of me too. Like it's been like this nonstop for 5 days.
Yeah, we were out last night pretty late too.
What time were you out till?
I think 1:30.
I didn't get home till 1:45.
Oh, really? Okay, so we left at like 1-ish.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I slept okay.
We left
and
after
I'm nice and rested.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Because I got home and I came down here to get stuff set up because we're recording earlier than usual. So Alma's like trying to get to sleep right now. So it's better I come down here. Usually we record in the afternoon where she's asleep and a dump truck couldn't wake her up. But while she's trying to sleep, I was going to come down here.
You couldn't hear a dump truck going through a nitroglycerin plant.
So down here, I'm actually in my photo studio. See that? My lights. Mm-hmm. See this?
I can see it.
See this here? I mounted that myself. See that?
Wow.
And this arm comes in.
A bolt into a ceiling.
Yeah, actually into the duct work, I think. So I might have some leakage, some air leakage in there.
Oh, at least it's not into like a water pipe or something, a shit pipe.
Well, with these walls, oh my god, I don't know.
A shit pipe, you fucking
it's somewhere. The shit pipe somewhere. In other news,
Gross.
my PSVR 2 headset broke.
Oh, great.
Yep. So I've sent that back for warranty repair. I would put it on. I talked about this on Nave and Phil gaming together, but I'd put it on and I would see the PlayStation logo, and then it would get into the PlayStation screen, and then it would disconnect. And then I would just keep trying that over and over again. Tried new cables, tried new power plugs, wouldn't work. 4 months. 4 months it lasted.
That's not very long.
Nope. And then we just got an email about doing some, I guess, promotion work or something for VR lenses. So we'll have
tuned for that.
Yeah,
Maybe
stay tuned for that. We'll have some discount codes for people who have VR systems and listen to us.
I'd say the percentage is probably low.
Mm-hmm. Actually, maybe a couple.
Maybe.
But that's all in my world. Today I've got a couple. Today, oh yeah. Go.
Oh, okay. I was just going to ask Dan if he's ever been to a diaper party.
Oh, God. I have.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
So you know what it is.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a late night huge bash thing. It's more of a get together. You have a couple drinks, you just bring some diapers, and then you leave after a few hours. It's not like a huge thing.
No.
But I hosted one for my buddy who
you hosted
had a kid. I hosted one. Yeah, it was just a few of the guys like that were probably going to be in because he was supposed to get married during COVID or before COVID. He was going to get married, but then COVID hit, so we didn't get a chance to do the whole thing. So we invited like most of the groomsmen or whatever and all our buddies, and we just had Did you know? Fun fact: we ordered Pizza Hut, and they deliver to the gas station in Long Sault. So I was like, oh, well, let's do that. So I ordered a bunch of stuffed crust pizzas and ordered them to the gas station. I drove 3 minutes to pick them up from Buddy. And you can get Pizza Hut this far. They just don't go past the gas station.
Wow.
So
in Long Sault.
A lot of people probably don't know
you used the diapers that night is what you're saying.
Yes.
I would have. Sure.
The morning
I
after.
don't know if people know what that is, if that's just a thing we have here, but
I don't
it's
know.
it's like a baby shower, but the manly equivalent,
Yeah.
for men, where you just bring diapers as a
drink
gift.
beer.
Yeah, and
Drink
you get
beer.
like different sizes because the baby will grow into certain ones, and like
And you wear diapers.
you could all get the
You
same
all wear
size.
diapers.
What are you drinking there, Nathaniel? You got a Winnie the Pooh mug? I've got Viva Las Vegas.
Viva. I had something on this mug, but through many cycles of the dishwasher, it has
That'll
disappeared.
do it.
It did
Mine's-
say.
Are you sure it's not one of
Papa.
those ones where when you fill it up with coffee, it appears?
No, because it's filled with coffee. I think
Oh.
Nathaniel's having a crisis.
Mine's just the biggest mug that I can find in the cupboard.
Yeah, same.
Right.
Put it to my veins.
Now it's done. It's over. No more coffee. Okay.
I helped my buddy move yesterday.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
tiring.
Thanks for
In
going to
July.
help your buddy move when we could have been recording podcasts yesterday. Fuck's sake.
Oh, thanks for
going to a
diaper party when we could have been recording our podcast yesterday.
Well, tell me, what kind of man over 30 years old helps his friends move?
Yeah,
That's
call
a rule.
That's
Call
just
a
It's a rule,
fucking moving
people.
vehicle.
If you're over
That's
30,
what we do.
you don't have to fucking help your friends move, okay? It's just a rule. That's it. My dog's
I think
going
it's
nuts.
just Nate. Nate loves to see his friends, so I obliged. Because I don't see him that often either, so why not? It's like it was a hangout day as much. We had a bunch of pizzas. We had a bunch of beers. It was fun.
What are those roosters up to back there?
I didn't hear
Hey!
anything. Oh,
Shut up, you worthless piece of shit.
What's wrong with Wolfie?
What's wrong with Wolfie?
your foster parents are dead.
You false to parents.
Spoilers. Terminator 2.
If you haven't watched that yet, go watch that.
No, I think Pam left to meet someone for brunch or something.
Oh, okay.
I'm here with
That
these
makes sense. Why they're going
wily
insane.
coyotes. The wily coyotes. And Arthur has an ear infection, so he's being a little bitch.
Yep.
Anyway, let's why don't we throw it over to game time? All right. Let's talk about what we've been playing recently. Now, I really haven't been playing much else over the last few weeks, really, than Diablo 4. It's a long grind trying to get to 100 while not getting any gear upgrades.
Oh
It's
my
a
god.
bit slow. Certainly, even after they fixed the XP. I don't know.
And like it's noticeable what they did. when
It
they
is
fixed
because
this.
I get I can do 2 nightmare dungeons and get a quarter level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to do 8 dungeons, roughly, maybe 9 to get a full level. Let's say
at that
10.
level. At that level.
Yeah. So it's probably gonna go a little more now.
Yeah.
Have
I think
they
I'm,
fixed the latency issues at all?
Not really.
Not really.
Still garbage?
Pretty laggy.
We actually hopped on gaming together with Phil and Nave last week, and we talked about Diablo in depth, which is always a blast. Thanks for having us on, fellas. But I forgot a couple of things. So far, this game, although its flaws, it is climbing the ranks of my most favorite game this year. I don't know the last time I put this many hours into something and kept wanting to play it, even though they're punishing me. You know? And I'm looking forward to the season coming out later this month, which I want to tell you guys about when we get into, I guess, would it be in gaming news or game time?
We'll talk about it in gaming news.
Okay.
But we also found a way that we could track our hours where we didn't know before, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So using what the hell is it called? The Armory. There's this website called Diablo 4 Armory, and it tells you your actual hours played for each character. I had more than I thought.
Than what I'd like to admit.
I think we both did. Well,
I have
right
like
now.
170 something on my rogue.
Yeah. And I have 160.
Jeez.
No. No, together, like all my characters, I have about
4,000 hours.
165.
No.
165.
I had 175 on my rogue alone. Plus like
Just on your rogue? No, I don't think so.
Plus 13 on my necromancer and 4 hours on my mage. So what's that? 17. 100 trillion billion trillion.
Fucking
Sleepy Joe.
Jeez.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, but yeah, it's a grind, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's
Sorry,
shaping up.
as a sidebar, when I opened, I don't think I got a chance to send you guys what I actually saw whenever you sent that clip of Biden doing the whole 1 million trillion thing. It was just him auto-tuned AI singing Miss You by Blink-182, and it was awesome. And it was just him being like, I think he was singing the Mark part at the beginning. I don't know how the words go. Yeah,
Angel of my
nightmare. And he's got like the microphone and he's walking back and forth on stage. And that's why I was like, wow, that's the most coherent he's sounded in ever. And I was like, fuck yeah, man. Anyway, it was funny. I have it. I should link it. Continue.
So, is it shaping up to be my game of the year so far? Yes. It has already surpassed Zelda.
Such a thing even possible?
It's because it's what I like as a gamer.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
That's
definitely
what I
I've
like.
definitely played more than Zelda.
Yeah. It gives me more than Zelda did. It's giving me that dopamine casino fix, right? I've wanted for years. Sorry, Zelda, but Starfield is coming, which I think will be literally, pun intended, a game changer. But don't get me wrong, Zelda is probably the better game than Diablo. And will most likely be second place to Starfield at the Game Awards, but Diablo 4 right now is my bread and butter.
You're already giving Starfield the fucking game of the year. Like, what are you doing? It's not even out yet.
Well, it's funny. I was actually, speaking of Starfield, I was listening to Friday Night Gamecast, Will and Nick, and Will said something, he corroborated something that I felt as well. And I think I had said this on one of our shows. I don't know if it was the post, if it was the show with Phil and Nave, because that was the showcase show we did after, I think, or something. Anyway, but I was like watching the Starfield gameplay, and I remember being like, it looks great, but it has that kind of dated feel of the creation engine. And Will even said the same thing. He was like, I think it looks, he said it on their latest episode. He's like, I think it looks bad. It looks bad. And I was like, he just meant like maybe the mechanics of it or whatever. And I think that's what he was saying. And I totally understood the same thing. But I feel like it doesn't matter. I was saying this with Nick, as long as like the story's there and then the narrative and all that, and the gameplay is fun. I'll overlook the whole dated creation engine thing. But anyway, so I didn't, that was the first time I've heard somebody say the same thing that I was thinking about the game. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but anyway.
It's like they smoothened all the. Mm-hmm. It's an old engine. They were building the game for fucking 10 years or whatever. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. There's not. Yeah. There's
Scrap
nothing
it.
we can
Put it on
do,
a new
so-
engine. I don't think so.
No,
It's
no.
okay. You'll just use 100 mods to.
Exactly. Oh my god.
On PC.
The mods are gonna just blow this game.
Star Wars mods. All your ships are now Star
Holy
Wars
shit.
ships.
lightsaber
Millennium
mods.
Falcon.
So,
Yeah.
I'll bring this up in gaming news, but yeah.
Daniel, what are you playing?
I have really only been playing Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. I bought it. I bought it physically. I ordered it on Amazon the day it came out. And I got it a few days later, and that's all I've been really playing, other than, of course, our Stim games for the last week. Man, I love it. I've been loving it because it's kind of the same story as Mineral Town. It's like everything that the original had, but better graphics. There's more.
I don't think I even played that. It's the a GameCube one?
Yeah, it's good, and it's just so different because like there's just different. It's just like I said, it's third person camera over the shoulder type thing. You've got little different elements that still feel like a Harvest Moon quote unquote game, but now Story of Seasons. but like instead of a mine, there's an archaeology site that you go dig at as opposed to like a mine. So it's the same kind of, it's fulfilling the same role in terms of activities and things to like rewards to reap. But instead of a mine, you just go and you dig at the site and you get cool things like little artifacts that are really important to like the archaeology professor. Or they're just garbage and you can sell them to the traveling merchant. And it's kind of cool. There's a lot of there's no character image when you speak to them. It's just you're just speaking to like the in-game character because like the graphics are nice enough that they look nice or whatever.
I like
so there's
the little
no
character
need for,
images.
I know, but it was only
images.
kind of necessary because of the shitty old sprites of the old games, right?
I guess. But does it zoom in on them or something when you?
Yeah,
when you
it kind
talk
of
to them?
the camera kind of comes in on them, and there's more candidates to choose from for like marriage or whatever because now they're obviously including the female gender, male gender player because in the OG game I think it was just male player, so you could, I actually don't remember. Anyway, it's awesome. I'm loving it, and the seasons are really short though, so you kind of gotta make your moves. It's 10 days as opposed to 30 days. And I don't really know why that is. I find the days do last a bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I woke up one morning, it's like next month in summer. I was like, what?
30 days is a bit long.
It's still throwing me off. It is, but it's still throwing me off because like I had planted some turnips and man, I got so mad the other night because I had left them. They fully grew and were ready for harvesting, but they didn't look like it because they're a root plant, so it just had the leaves up top. So I was like, oh, they're not ready yet. I'll keep watering them. So then I wake up the next day and they're all dead. I was like, what? And then I had to check the info for the turnips. And this was like half a field. That's maybe like $1,000 and a bunch of time spent freaking watering them for I don't know how many days. But anyway. So I checked the bag. It's like summer through fall or summer through autumn. I was like, okay, so what's the problem? And apparently it's because they were grown and I just didn't know it yet. And the little square indicator when you go to water your crops changes color when they're ready to harvest. It's yellow as opposed to blue. Yellow or green, I couldn't tell on the screen. It was late. But yeah, so now double check your root crops because they don't always look ready when they are and you can lose them. And I hit saved like 3 seconds before midnight of the next day when they rotted. And I loaded. I was like, I loaded. And then I run outside and it's like, screen goes black next day. And then they're rotted. I was like, no! So I lost all that money, but I had to replant. But at least I still have the rest of autumn to keep regrowing or keep buying them. And they're the cheapest crop. So it works out. I've got all my
your
entire
turnips?
fields.
Know your turnips, folks.
I did tomato right out the gate. Planted those tomatoes.
Tomatoes are good, yeah. They're just
Pick
not
tomatoes.
as cheap. You can't
get a free cow.
The thing is, you can't. What?
And you get a free cow
Yeah,
at the beginning.
yeah. They
You get
set
a
you
free
off.
cow.
They set you off pretty straight at the beginning. It's strange like that, but again, it's different, and I don't really care. It's whatever. It starts you off. You get some milk. I think it's necessary because you need that milk to make like recipes to get your freaking stamina back up
Oh my
because
God,
it
it's
takes
brutal.
so much out of you to water. Because you got to water your plants twice a day in this game. Okay, you can't just do it once and that's it. The soil dries out.
Oh, I've been doing it once and I've been fine.
You can. It'll just take longer, but the soil dries out at about 6 p.m. or so, and you see the soil changing color, and you have the option to re-water, which I do because I want my crops growing quick, and so
Just
I'm
more busy work.
exhausted, and I go to the cafe. I'm like spending all this gold on food. So instead of doing that, I just keep all my byproducts from animals to make ingredients to eat during the day, to make meals to eat during the day, so I don't have to freaking keep going and spending money at the cafe on energy.
But
But
you
it's
have to
good.
find you have to find the recipe though, right?
You
For
do,
whatever.
but-
Like I
Just
didn't have,
here's a little tip: go visit the sprites in the
Yeah, yeah.
forest.
yeah. I ate the
See
mushroom.
what they have to say every day. The
Yeah.
little red one.
So I first went up there, ate the mushroom. I was like, "Do you want to eat this?" I was like, "Yeah, why not? Looks poisonous."
Sure. See what happens.
But like
Did you die?
I have fish because I go fish and then I have milk. Like I can't make anything with fish and milk and tomatoes. Like what can you make with fish, milk, and tomatoes?
Not yet.
Chowder.
Maybe. A fish chowder.
Fish
It's chowder.
It's chowder.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any recipes that have fish, I don't think. But now I'm up to like I have egg soup, milky soup, herb soup, and you can make milky soup and egg soup with your byproducts any time of the year. You can only make herbal soup in the spring.
Sounds horrible.
So, yeah, and it's cool because like I also didn't realize this, but if you do want to make friends with people, like if you're looking to get married or whatever, you can actually give your bachelorette or whatever, or bachelor, gifts twice a day now, which I don't think I knew. And you got to keep talking to them, get all their dialogue options exhausted, and then that increases their friendship meter. And then, of course, your affection meter will increase with all their little cutscenes or whatever. So there's more to it than I'm remembering, and I'm really liking it.
Who you banging?
I chose Molly because actually in the past 2 saves that I've played, I chose Cecilia and Nami, the redhead girl who's kind of like a punk. She's super grunge and like she got an attitude problem.
Yeah, I told that bitch to fuck off.
Yeah. She came to my farm.
Here. You don't want my presents? Get the fuck out.
She came to my farm and I was.
You don't want my milky soup, bitch.
She was like, "Oh, don't mind me. I'm just watching the cows or the farm or whatever." And the 2 options were stay as long as you like and you're kind of hard to ignore. And I was like, what does that mean? So I clicked the you're kind of hard to ignore. And it almost might have been the bad option because it's like, you're here on my farm. Like, what are you doing here? And then she was like, oh, okay, I'll just leave now. And left. I was like, oops.
I was in the forest with Cecilia. I think it was Cecilia. And she's like, this place is so nice and quiet and blah, blah, blah. It's like, stand there and agree or make noise. And I was like, make noise. And I'm like, just stomping around. And then she got pissed.
Like playing the hand spoons on his lap.
Then she got what did she say? Left. She's like, I can't believe you did that. And then she just left me in the forest alone.
You got no wheels, man.
So then now I just give gifts to the rich girl so I can take her money.
Nice.
She lives in the mansion, right? So I'm just going to get her all up in the hearts and then break her heart and take her money. That's how that's how Nasty Nate do. Okay.
And you break and you take and you turn it into. It's a good game. I love it so far, and I feel like everything that is different from like Mineral Town that I'm not crazy about is a challenge, and it's a good challenge that I like. So I'm very much enjoying it right now.
All right,
and that's about it.
All right, well, I think that's it for game time. Let's head on into the gaming news. We'll talk. I got something to say. I got something that's funny. And Nathaniel will tell us about the Diablo Season 1. Okay, gaming news. Let's you want to talk about Diablo first, or I got something here? I got something quick. It's funny.
Yeah,
we talked about when we were on gaming together. Phil mentioned the Reddit thing that the Reddit subreddits are protesting about the recent changes they made to the accessibility of the backend API, like for third-party apps. So you now, if you're an open source developer, if you have an app that accesses Reddit and displays it, you now have to pay money where it was free before.
Yeah.
So now using the Reddit app is like the only real way to access Reddit, which people don't like because it's not good.
Brutal. The Chinese are just making their money off that now.
Yeah. So anyway, in protest to this change, the Cyberpunk 2077 subreddit has turned NSFW.
Nice.
It is now flooded with user posts, pictures of their naked characters.
Wow.
Yeah. So I decided to visit the subreddit for scientific purposes.
Research purposes.
And purely in an investigative nature. And sure enough...
Strictly academic.
Strictly academic, yes, Tom? There were titties everywhere. Everywhere there were titties.
Wow.
And, yeah. Some nice characters on there.
Hell yeah.
Reddit
Metallic
has
chrome.
Yeah, got some chrome on there. Chrome-ass titties. But Reddit has demanded they remove the NSFW tag or else, quote unquote, or else. I'm not really
Ooh.
sure what that means or how they can force them to remove the tag, since it is an 18 plus game that does have nudity in it. So it directly relates to the game. So I don't think they can actually.
That is
Do
cool.
anything.
That is like the most cyberpunk thing a cyberpunk Reddit could do. It's like Johnny Silverhand would do that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
He would blow it up. No, he would go to Reddit headquarters and blow it up with a nuclear bomb.
That's fucking rocker boy, man. That's rocker boy.
Wake up, samurai. Yeah. That's what I had. That's pretty funny.
Nice.
Wow, that's funny. We'll see how long that lasts, I guess.
I've got a lot of those not safe for work photos of my character.
It was funny because
Yes,
there were like
we know, you
there's
send
some
them to
pictures
us.
of pictures of like Judy. It's like, here's some pictures of Judy, but like the guy had like a modded Judy ass, so it was bigger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And people were like, Judy ain't got that much cake.
Judy
like-
got booty.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's a mod.
Judy.
Judy's booty.
Doug Judy, Pontiac Bandit. Rosa, Rosa, Rosa.
His shitty songs, yeah.
All right, let's talk about Diablo season 1.
All right, so I watched the Diablo 4 season 1 stream. Well, the Diablo stream, but let's get real. Everyone was just watching it for the season 1 details.
Yeah.
The pre-patch is coming out July 18th, 2023, and the season 1 will start July 20th.
Next
called-
Thursday.
Yeah, called Season of the Malignant. Looks like it resets to World Tier 2, as they were playing a character in T2 and like level 8 as they were running around. A corruption has spread in the hearts of beasts, leaving them bloodthirsty and a very dangerous threat to Sanctuary. Looks like there's like a story to the season, which is nice. So you'll be playing this story throughout the season, and then finishing it. You're not going to be playing the original story, because to get the seasonal content, you have to beat the original campaign. You have to have beaten the original campaign to get
Oh, really?
the seasonal the seasonal quest line, I guess. You start at level 1 and you progress into the season storyline. New ways to customize, new ways to interact with your player. Use an item to so you get like this item to capture these malignant hearts from the beasts, and you turn these hearts into like gems, which you socket into new gear with new like malignant sockets, it's called. And they're colored. They're different colors for different kind of stats, I believe, for like what heart you've stolen or what heart you've taken. Then there'll be, like, because of these new hearts, they're going to give new skills and new stuff. So there's going to be different ways to build your character now based on these hearts that you take and slot into gear. So I think that's going to be really cool. So my build is, or if I were to do let's say a necromancer again, my build would change based on what hearts I can get. They're also letting us kind of hone in on how to get these malignant hearts. Like, yes, they can drop from around the world at a lower drop rate, but there's going to be these things called malignant tunnels. They're kind of like dungeons or like small little quest things that you can go in and grind for specific hearts that you're looking for. So that'll be really cool as well. New legendary items, new legendary powers, new unique items, new world bosses, which will show up in both realms, in your new season realm and your regular realm.
Okay.
These malignant hearts, though, are only in the season realm.
Okay.
Season 1 will bring out a season journey feature, so the battle pass. Looks like new cosmetics, because they showed a picture of what's coming out. These cosmetics, I believe, will be able to be put on any class of character. So they're like, this is what I didn't understand, and I'm not a fan of, is they say that it's what was the word they used? I don't know, they said a word. So they said a word that I don't understand.
They said a word.
Yeah.
They said a word, folks.
I know all the words.
So season 1 will bring out season journey features like the battle pass looks like new cosmetics, new currency towards the battle pass. So it's called favor, but it's like an XP kind of currency. So it's just like an XP. They're not calling it XP. They're calling it favor. So you do quests, you get favor. That favor translates into Battle Pass XP progression. Cosmetics in the Battle Pass. So it's the same helm for any kind of class. So if you unlock the cosmetics in the Battle Pass and it looks like a certain way, it's going to look that certain way on all classes, which I don't think that's very nice because then everyone's just going to look the same, right? That's what I got out of it. I don't know if I'm 100% correct about that, but they're like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, agnostic. It's class agnostic. That's what they said.
Yeah, that sounds weird. I don't want to look the same as other people, other classes.
I don't know.
Well, you may be. I don't know that. You may be onto something where you're misunderstanding how they're putting it. It could mean that. Actually, no, I don't know. I have no idea what that.
I'm hoping I'm mistaken. And if I go in with a necromancer, they're changed a little bit for that class on that battle pass, right?
Yeah.
But what also is if you start multiple season characters, you're progressing the same battle pass, right? So
Okay. Yeah, because it's an account-wide battle pass.
Exactly. So I'm pretty sure I'm right where the cosmetic will look the same on all classes. I'll try to find out more about that, but that's what I think they're doing.
Well, at least there's new content coming out. We were just talking about this.
Yes.
I'm sure they'll put something out, like new quests and all this jazz.
Yeah. There's going to be things called Smoldering Ashes, which can be applied to seasonal blessings. Gives new bonuses like Lilith statues. So you unlock those, and they give you bonuses to your character's stats and all that kind of stuff to make you more powerful. Power is not locked behind paywalls, so free people can get all these blessings, these seasonal blessings, and progress. The only thing that the free people won't get are the paid cosmetics, pretty much. And I think potions. I think I saw potions in the locked Battle Pass icons.
Like new kinds of potions?
Yeah, maybe. No, I think it's like just potions that you could pick up. It's just you get them in the Battle Pass. It looked like a vial of something, so I'm assuming it's a potion.
Huh. Maybe it's like an XP boost potion or something.
Oh, maybe.
Like an extra XP boost.
Yeah, but your renowned, some of your renowned will come over. So they said your map progression will carry over, your little statues will carry over. And it wasn't clear to me, but your renown progression will carry over. So if you didn't finish your renown, you can continue that renown grind on your seasonal character.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Some of it will come over. Like you won't have to uncover the map.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
You won't have to. You will have to get waypoints, but not all of them. There will be like unlocked waypoints, which is the same as what it is now, I think.
Yeah.
But I think there will be more unlocked that you'll just have to go and get other ones.
Yeah.
I think the Lilith statues will be already on your map. Also.
Well, no, you'll be if you got all your Lilith statues, then you're good. They'll carry over your progression on the Lilith statues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because they said whenever you start your level 1 character and you've gotten all the stuff done before you get the season, so campaign, Lilith statues, your map, your character is going to be pretty powerful at the beginning of season 1 at level 1. Mm-hmm. You're going to have like 5 extra. You're going to have the equivalent to 5 skill points and 9 potions.
I think you have 10 skill points.
10? Is it 10? I heard 5.
Because I started a new character, and I had 10 skill points to start, and I was super strong because I had like 60 or 58 stats.
So they
extra stats.
So they said leveling is going to be pretty quick for the season grind because how powerful your character is going to be, which is very nice. I like that. I like that. Cool. And the fact that it's a new storyline. You're not doing the same story, which is also really cool. So I think I'm looking forward to this season. I think it's going to be pretty sweet. They said how to get ready for season 1. They say get the campaign done. When the season starts, log in with the character that you have the most progression on, so it transfers all that stuff to all your alts. So it's going to transfer it because right now, my necromancer progression, like the map progression, isn't copied to my druid right now. So if I log in with my druid, I don't have the map uncovered. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be moved over once you log in with your main character. Then you start your alts, and then your seasonal alt. It'll move that map over to them. But yeah, sounds pretty good. It sounds like they're actually listening to the community, which is awesome. He passingly said inventory space and gem space. They're not going to be changing anything for season 1, but it is in the works. They say it's pretty complicated to increase your baggage space and move the gems out and increase stash space. That is coming. It's just they're working on it right now.
Okay. Whatever you say, Blizzard.
Yeah, and it's 12 weeks per season. 12 weeks per season.
It's pretty standard.
Yeah, no new classes are planned at this time.
All right. Okay, well, that's good to know. I think we can throw it over to today's topic now, I think. So, today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, we will be discussing 3 Game Pass available sim games that we chose to pit against each other. In a battle of the Sims, you could say. We have a very popular game in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We have a Farm Simulator 2022, which I know, as I said earlier, I have hovered over before and been like, what is this all about? So I'm wondering if
why
other
am
people...
I drawn to it?
Yeah, it's like, why? Anyway. Then we also have Train Sim World number 3, because who doesn't love the idea of toy trains as a grown adult and controlling them?
All aboard!
Being a conductor.
Planes, trains, and tractors.
Planes, trains, and tractors. We're going to talk a bit about each and then decide which is best in terms of fun. Now, let's start with Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's by Microsoft, of course, for PC and Xbox. First of all, the installation of this game is one of the worst experiences I've ever had installing a game on PC. It took multiple days to get this game installed. It's like 160 gigs and it downloads at like 100 megabits per second. It takes forever. I had left it overnight. Like, when's the last time you left something overnight to download? What year is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
And it still didn't work because my computer shut down somehow for some reason. It's like, what the fuck is happening right now? I just want to install this stupid game.
On Xbox, I didn't have any troubles. It was a matter of it was definitely longer than just a couple hours, but it was done. I actually did test it. The Xbox energy saving power off mode. I turned off my Xbox. I held the Xbox button, turn off, and Flight Sim still downloaded and finished. So you can do that if energy saving mode is on. Confirmed. So I just turned off my Xbox and started up the next day and it was downloaded.
I couldn't get the Game Pass PC app to install anything because it's such a piece of shit. So I had to actually install this game on my Series S.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't play it on PC?
No, I couldn't.
Oh, damn.
It was
okay.
Oh my god! Like, I spent a week troubleshooting that fucking app. It is so.
I've had that issue before,
bad.
and I forget what I had to do. I had to like reformat my drive or something because it was a permissions thing.
Yeah,
I had to move everything off of it, reformat it, and then add it to the Game Pass app in the settings, and then it was fine.
God.
It's so
all
dumb.
bad. All
the
their apps
Windows,
are bad.
the new ever since Windows 10, the permissions on that and the way it installs apps and games is very fucking dumb.
yeah.
And it uses some weird hidden folders. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah. You can't just have, okay, where do you want your install? Here.
Because it's not like like a regular exe anymore. It's not a folder that has an exe for
It's like an app.
Yeah, it's a store app, right? So it's just nested in this garbage that Microsoft piles on your C drive. And what I ended up having to do is I uninstalled all of my Windows Store apps. So I uninstalled Windows Store app.
It's like uninstall Windows.
Rebuilt the Windows Store app with PowerShell commands. So I could see.
Oh yes, I've done that before, and it didn't work for me.
I could see it all going, and then I repaired, did all that shit after, installed Xbox app, and then I had to install the games on my C drive. I couldn't install it on my my secondary SSD. I had to go on the C drive. What a piece of shit.
That's the problem I had before, and it was something about permissions because like it didn't like the permissions on my SSD on my spare drive on my game drive.
Unbelievable.
I had to reformat it completely and then move everything back.
So long story short, play it on Xbox.
Yeah, I mean,
Download it on
obviously
Xbox, you'll have no problems.
playing anything on
PC
Xbox
sucks.
or console is easier than PC.
PC sucks.
Anyway,
Let's
let's talk about the gameplay.
Let's get into the game.
Yeah.
Let's get into the gameplay. I liked how they to start you off that you can actually do training courses for beginners to show you very generally the controls of the plane, some terminology, how things work. I like that. I definitely learned some stuff. Like for instance, I remember when I was trying to keep the plane at altitude, but it kept wanting to pull down.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to have it kept pulling up on the yoke to kind of stay level. I'm like, that's really annoying. Is there something wrong with my joystick? Like, I thought maybe I was getting like some stick drift or something. But then in a later on training module, it explained what that was, and you have to set the trim. You got to set the trim, which is like a trim of the flap so you can compensate for like it pulling down. So you set the trim and it levels out, and you're like, oh, I can let go of the other thing now. Perfect.
Yeah.
And
I cheated that.
that's
So
cool.
I just hit my sticks in, and then it goes to the menu, like your hovering menu, and your plane just goes straight.
I don't think so. I tried that.
No,
and
I tried
sure?
that. And it wants to nosedive. Yeah.
I didn't nosedive. I just kept going. I was like, oh, sweet.
cheese,
No, I left the
ultimate
controller.
cheesed. Mr. Cheezel.
Mr. Cheezel.
Hey,
Mr.
that was
Cheezel.
cool. Again, the trim thing was a little weird for me at first, only because I think it was just the way I have to be explained something in certain ways, and I think the perspective of the explanation was a little weird for me. Like it wasn't connecting. I think the function of trim wasn't connecting with how they. And I was like, wait, what? And then you just realize that it's also. I think if she just told me that it's just a way to fine tune
Yeah.
your nose, I think I would have been like, okay, that makes sense. But then I realized I played these modules over and over because I wanted to get A's on every one of them, so I fucking did. So
Wow.
I heard her, and I was on comms for some of it, so I couldn't hear exactly what she was saying, and I would just keep reading it. But then I played on my own, and she did say something about you have to use broad movements with the trim first to really kind of get the pressure off the yoke.
Yeah.
And then you can start fine tuning it and then set it. And I was like, oh, I didn't hear her say that before. So because I was finding it a weird relationship between the yoke and the fine tune, I was like, well, wait a minute. But when I let go of the yoke, the plane is still doing this when I'm trying to set the yoke. But that's because I didn't do the coarse movements with the trim first and then let go of the yoke. So there's definitely some nuance in there, man. It's not
trick you
it's
can
not
do,
cut
though,
and dry.
You can change the camera angle to third, like behind the plane, and it will tell you your trim degrees in the bottom right corner, so you can actually see while it moves.
Benefit.
I didn't. That's why I
Yeah,
didn't
true.
like being in the cockpit because I didn't like.
I like
nothing was like labeled. I didn't
too.
see. I was just like,
I
what
like
the
it.
heck
It's
is
cool.
this?
I'm like, all right,
Depends.
fucking dial.
If
Ding,
you
ding,
want
ding.
like the sim experience, I would rather sit in the cockpit because that's what you would see. But it is nice to just like do third person and look at the map around you. Remember the option? Speaking of the map around you, just I wanted to tell you guys, it's like when you start the game, it's like, do you want to use satellite population for like the world around you from the internet? You have to have really fast internet for this, or you could just use the shitty. And I was like, okay, but I tried it anyway, and it works fine. So luckily, I have had no problems. Everything looks really cool and like accurate according to geography.
Right.
So Nathaniel, you didn't like cockpit view? I loved it. I love that.
I
That's
liked
sweet.
it, but I was like, okay, well, how high am I? And I'm looking for the numbers.
high
It's
am
just
I?
it's just dials, and I don't.
Oh yeah,
I need numbers.
You got to learn how to use your dials, man. How to read your altimeter
game-
and your
The altimeter's
attitude. Your attitude.
I'm gonna
You got
rewind
an
a little bit.
attitude problem.
On the
Yeah.
Series S, this game was like lighting that thing on fire. Like the heat that was coming off the Series S was unbelievable.
no doubt.
With this thing, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I couldn't touch it, so I had to put a fan on it just so it wouldn't overheat.
What?
The game is boring, but weirdly good. The menu music is quite nice. I like the UI.
actually had
The
a note
UI is
about
very
that.
nice. The UI is very nice, intuitive. I can get through it. You know, I can get to playing. Okay, and I can get in there and start playing.
Did you find
on
the music sounded like U2?
I found it sounded
Yeah,
like,
kind of like ding, 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 ding. As long as I didn't
It
hear
had like
his
an
voice,
edge.
but-
The Edge, the guitar player, the guitar
that
player of
edge.
U2 had that kind of style.
It was a bit blurry, the graphics, but I think that's because the FSR was working his ass off on the Series S just to get those frame rates.
Oh, probably.
It's probably not going to be as nice looking on the Series S that it would on the PC or the Series X, but for what I saw, it looked quite nice.
We'll talk about visuals after.
Oh, okay. Is that what we're doing? Okay. But yeah, I couldn't play this game for more than like 30 minutes. I just kept falling asleep, to be honest.
Really?
Yep. There's-
What missions were you doing? Were you not like doing? Did you
trying
do
to-
the training?
I was
Like,
working through all the training.
okay, I did all the training. I did all the like. What did I do? The fly. The. Just like.
Nosedive. Why do I keep nosediving? Wake up.
Pull up.
back.
Pull up.
I did the first training. I did the takeoff and landing, and I did the VFR course. Is that what you did?
Yeah, I did all those. Yeah.
Okay. I think I had like a B average. I didn't redo any of the things. I think I got.
Oh, it was
A B
C
average.
average. C average. I was like, that's enough.
I did
go to the next one.
all the first training stuff until your like first solo flight where you do the loop around.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think, but I also redid a bunch of shit a bunch of times to get the A's. I was like, I feel like I've compensated in terms of the time put. I think I spent like 4 hours playing that game, which is way more than I thought I would. But I
think I had
only got a
11.
B in my solo flight. And the problem with the training is hitting the objectives for as long as they want you to.
Yeah.
And as accurately as you need them to. Like, you can fly the plane and land it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But hitting
Yeah.
the objectives so that the flight is
Fuck your
controlled
objectives.
and you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's where you get your A's and your B's in training and stuff. But I just couldn't fucking get them.
She's always like,
It's because like
in
no,
the
you have
solo
to
flight.
like slow down to 65 knots, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how am I going to slow down to 65 knots?
drop the RPM to 100.
Like I feel
You
like
gotta
that's
drop the
not.
RPM. You gotta float with your nose up of it. You can't do this, otherwise you start
Yeah.
speeding up, and then
Yeah.
there's a
That's what it
dance. It's a dance between
It's a
your
nuance.
meters. Yeah, for sure. Because you got to have a relationship. Like if they want you to descend but keep a certain amount of knots, if you start descending, you start speeding up. So you got to pull out the throttle so that you keep the knots they want you to. Or if you're ascending but you have to keep certain knots and hit a certain altitude, you have to find the perfect angle, that pitch that's going to allow you to hit both of those at once.
That's the hardest part.
While-
Like, it's like you want me to ascend but hit 85 knots. Like how?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
plane isn't powerful enough
Yeah.
to fucking do that.
That's what I was trying to get up to that altitude, but I was going way too fast. So my plane would go up and go, and then just fucking nosedive. I was like, why? What am I doing?
Well, you can't go straight up. Like, what are you doing?
Well, no, I'd go like this, and
He's just like, well, I'm pulling straight back and it won't go up.
yeah.
well, that's what I mean by you
to this
have to
altitude
find the
fast
angle.
enough, like,
You have
Yeah,
to find
and
the
then you're-
right angle that allows you
and then you're
to
there for like
maintain
10
your
minutes,
speed.
ascending to 8,500 feet
That's
or whatever.
the
Like,
that's the
fuck
reality
off.
of it, I think.
Yeah, that's what it's like, man.
Yeah,
That's,
no
it's
thanks.
a simulator.
Next.
Oh man, but
I
I like it
a
because
lot.
it's like I liked it. I try not to compare it to driving a car because there's no like sudden stopping and acceleration like a car would have, obviously, with the
Yeah.
little Cessna they give you anyway. But you have to like you said, slow the throttle down and climb to maintain a certain speed. Like otherwise you'll just keep speeding up. Or if you go down, if you're descending, you'll speed up because of gravity,
Yeah.
obviously. So yeah, you have to kind of like lower or hover around a lower RPM and pull up on the yoke to kind of maintain like a slower
Yeah.
speed. Otherwise, you'll
you have to
descend.
you have to think of like as an octopus. You're constantly reaching for controls, I feel like, or hitting your buttons for the short keys or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I feel like it'd be a hard game to play if you were doing the cursor mode and like pulling out the throttle and going over here and doing this. I feel like that would be really difficult because I like to see out the window
Yeah, no way.
while I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So I was just using the controls, hold
So
A
was
to
I.
push in the throttle, hold B. There's a fine tuning element to your controls, and the sooner you master the relationship between all of them, you start to see a huge difference at, okay, so I'm hitting these objectives and I'm actually controlling the plane. And then there's the analog sensitivity issue. I had to fiddle with that for
Yeah, I did
probably
that
an
too.
hour of my gameplay time. Just going back to the friggin' menu and finding something. I looked up on YouTube what people recommended. I didn't like that. And I find like I had to, I think I put it down 90% sensitivity on the left stick. And I think, I don't remember what the rest of the controls were.
this.
But
I couldn't find those.
yeah, I don't remember what mine looked like.
It was
Very
very.
curved.
I just found it so that I
Insensitive.
could barely touch it and I could just move it and the plane would do exactly as I need to, instead of being like, you move it a bit and the plane's like, like that was driving me nuts. It was just way too sensitive. I feel like I think that was the issue.
I couldn't
So
find it. I had to adjust my thumbs. I couldn't find the setting. I don't know why. Because there's so many
It's
different
just in the left-hand
control
corner,
settings and shit.
control options, sensitivities in the left-hand corner, and you can change.
I don't know. How do I know how
triggers
I
as
didn't
well.
see that? How did I not see that if it's right there? I don't know because I was looking. So about the actual gameplay itself, though, there are the training modes, and then there are once you do that, there are challenge modes where you can do various landing challenges. There's packs that you can download. I guess it's constantly being updated. New landing challenges or flight runs. You can do scenic flights to look at famous landscapes around the world, or you can create your own flight plan. Yeah, you can go fly over your house. I did that also, and it was pretty accurate. And you can create your own flight plan and make it happen from airport to airport. Do whatever you want. That's basically what it is. So we can talk about the visuals next, though. The game looks great. That I thought, like, there are lots of amazing looking places that you can fly around, and the graphics are good. I would imagine with a 4090, you could pump this up and it would
in
look,
like 4K and shit. Yeah, it looks sick.
whew. It looked pretty good on my PC. Stunning, I would say. Stunning.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it is
Yes,
nice.
beautiful.
Mine was a blurry 720p Vaseline mess.
Really?
No, I'm just fucking with it. It looked pretty good for like expecting to play on the Series S. Like I wasn't like ew, but I could notice like some of the like it looked blurry in some spots where it's like probably shouldn't be blurry there. Like on the I zoom out to do the third person view, and the plane was kind of blurry.
Oh.
But like I wasn't really looking for graphics when I'm trying to fly a fucking plane. I'm just trying to look at my.
I was always looking out
Stuff.
the window. I was like looking down, flying over Sedona.
When I
is
was
that Arizona?
in the cockpit, though,
Arizona.
everything looked really good. Just because like the cockpit, it's not really loading like the land. You know what I mean? I don't know. It seemed to look better in the cockpit than it did when it was zoomed out.
It did. I find the same. The controls, the dash looked really nice. At least in the Cessna is where I put all my hours, pretty much. The 152, and the dash looked really nice, and I love that because it's more immersive in that kind of controlled environment. And so I like that the dash looked really nice, and the way the sunlight came in when you're turning the plane and stuff. Very cool. Very cool.
I did a flight over Naples, Italy, and the surrounding area, and it was one of the flight kind of packages where you can like just choose a destination, and it was like a
Kind of a
pre-built
cruiser
level.
I think I did that over Lake Como there. I did that one.
They had some castles and cathedrals that you can fly over and actually like kind of see them. I was like, oh man, that's cool, and it was super sharp and like clear. But I did notice one thing. It must be it was like there were some super weird glitchy things like trees kind of growing through buildings and big blobs of what looked like garbage on rooftops, like garbled garbage. And I was like, this looks like an AI photo or something.
Oh yeah,
It looks pretty realistic, but like there's some weird things that it looks like it's AI generated. I looked it up, and it uses Black Shark's AI-driven technology it enabled Microsoft Flight Simulator to display the surface of the entire planet in 3D. So it is AI generated 3D from a
Like a cloud
from a
surface.
map.
Not actually scanned kind of images from
No.
satellite. Then why would
Yeah.
they give me that option at the beginning of the game? That's
It is, but they take that and this Black Shark AI models that into 3D based on like pictures and whatever on, you know what I mean? Of those
technology.
locations
Okay, so that's how they map the satellite imagery to 3D models.
to 3D. Yeah. So
Interesting.
that's why there's kind of these weird artifacts of like trees like growing through buildings. I'm like
I didn't
from
notice
far
that.
away, it looks real.
Yeah.
But when you get a little closer, like I was flying right above these rooftops, like these cathedrals and shit. And I was like, what is this? What is that giant ball of garbage on that building? It just looked like a bunch of garbage bags were up there. I'm like, is that real? But it was because I'm guessing it's just because of this weird AI. It was funny.
Wow. No, I didn't notice because I was just too, like, I looked outside the windows, but I was also just too fixated on the objectives and, like, flying, I think. So I wasn't really looking for it.
Yeah, it was cool. I love the difference in like when you go from the Cessna to like a more modern kind of higher tech. You get the nice color displays, the GPS, your attitude kind of meter is bigger, so you can actually see your relation to the ground.
All your
better.
models, your gauges are going to be different and shit.
Yeah, it was cool.
I didn't make it that far.
Okay, well, let's ask, is it convincing as a sim? I would say yes, definitely. I mean, I don't know how intricate the controls get. I mean, if you're flying like a giant commercial airliner, if you can actually press every fucking knob or button on the
Probably.
panel. Like, I'm not sure. But for the little planes that I used, it was pretty convincing, and I felt like I was actually doing it. Do you feel you could fly a plane after playing this game?
I feel like if I was in, let's say, one of those passenger Cessna, I guess a Cessna will have a couple of people in the back, right?
Yeah.
It could, I think.
So if the pilot had a heart attack and died in the seat, and the other people in the plane needed to land it and they had zero experience, and I played this game, I would probably have the better chance to land the plane than them.
Probably.
So,
I guess. If it was the same model.
Yeah, I suppose I could maybe give it a try.
I have a couple of thoughts regarding that. The fun fact, first of all, was I had talked to my buddy Matt, who has logged many hours into Cessnas because that's what they train. That's what you train on. Mm-hmm. And he was getting his pilot license, but man, it's like super, super duper expensive to get the hours required to get your license. So he hasn't finished them yet, but he did go to, I think he was at Carleton. He just graduated for aeronautic engineering as well. So he's going to apply to get his engineer's license at some point soon. But yeah, so he's kind of like my flight guy that I talk to about planes and stuff. So I was telling him about all the gauges and and I showed him the dash of the Cessna in the game. And he's like, that's what I fly. I know exactly what you're looking at. And I was like, kind of running him through the things they were talking about, like reducing your throttle to 1400 when you're landing and keeping it at 65 knots and all this stuff. And he says, blah, blah, blah. He was like, that sounds pretty accurate to me. I think the most important takeaway is whether or not you know how to fly a Cessna 152, I don't know. But I can tell you that if I sat behind the dash or behind the yoke, I would at least know what I'm looking at now. It's not this kind of, what do you call it? Convoluted.
Alien.
Yeah, you know
It's not so
what the
alien.
gauges are and how to read them. Like 5,500 feet looks like 530 on the altimeter, which looks like a clock kind of thing or whatever. You know kind of how to read that, and you know what your attitude meter looks like and all this stuff. So I feel like if I sat behind a Cessna 152, I would at least know what I'm looking at. And I think that's the first step to being like, well, I feel confident that I could like... that the issue is actually doing it. You know what I mean? And feeling the feedback of this real plane and how to control. I feel that's the thing that we don't have any experience in it. But theoretically, I think that we have a better chance than somebody who's never played Flight Simulator in a Cessna 152, in my experience anyway.
All right, was it fun?
But
I
it
would
is
say
convincing.
yes.
It is convincing.
I would say yes, it is fun. Fun.
Yeah, for sure.
No, not for me.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. But
play
I'm
this
also
game.
plain. I'm a kind of a plane nerd.
Yeah.
Like I love the idea of
I
flight.
like that too.
And
Me too.
what I really want to do next, and I think bottom line is I would love to keep this game on my Xbox. By the way, it's just so much space that I don't know if I can.
It's fucking huge.
Well, on the Series S, I could install just the base piece, which was 60 gigs.
I didn't see that option.
Yeah, like 65 gigs or something.
No, yeah,
thank God, because I
I
did.
looked for that. I didn't.
I
see
finished the tutorial and I didn't do anything else. Like taking off is cool, landing is cool, but everything in between I didn't want to do. So if they could give me like a little fast forward button to just fast forward the flight so I get to landing, you know. But like,
Yeah, that's true. Because what if you want to do like a commercial flight,
oh fuck,
and you want to fly like
Just-
from Boston to something?
just the
to
training
LA.
things where it was like 10-minute flights. I wanted to
You
just
can put on autopilot and just
Oh
leave
my
it for
God.
8 hours.
I was like, go up,
Yeah, they have that right in the menu. They have
turn-
like an auto.
I think so.
and then when I was going straight, I was like straight for 10 minutes. I was like, no thanks. I will promptly uninstall this game and never play it again.
What I would love to do, and I feel like they've done it. I think they have because I remember seeing it. Be like, oh my god, is I think you can get like British Spitfires from the RAF in World War II, like they're the planes they won the Battle of Britain
Probably.
against.
There's
or
so
with.
many different packs and shit you can get.
I would love to fly one of those, man. That would be so cool. So I'm gonna maybe keep it on and see if I can explore that option post playthroughs for the show, and that would be like the final thing where if I was ready to finish, okay, I played a Spitfire, I learned how to fly it, and I did it successfully, and that's it. Definitely recommend Flight Sim for a sim game. Like you have to do Flight Sim.
Okay.
Very
That's
fun.
good. Let's move on then. Move on to Farming Simulator 2022 by Giants Software. The gameplay, we'll talk about the gameplay. This game just, for me anyway, it tossed me into and gave me nothing. I had to start, I guess you have to start on easy mode to get any kind of tutorial, which I didn't get. It just put me on a little parking lot and I was like, okay.
It's based on the map you choose if you get the tutorial or not.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's the 3 maps. There's
Oh.
the 1, 2, and then the mountain town. I jumped into the mountain town because it
Me
looked
too.
super nice, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck am I doing?"
Yeah.
But then it's like, "Oh, if you want the tutorial, you have to go into the first map, which is like a regular farm
Oh.
looking thing."
Like Middle East or like not
It's
Middle
very-
East,
it's very
Midwest.
rural.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's what
I
I
was
did.
like,
That's the map.
what
I
the
chose.
hell am I doing? I want to do forestry. I don't want to do like normal shit. I was like, well, I
Yeah.
want to be like a forester, cut down some trees. So I went and bought a tree harvester or a tree cutting thing. Then I was like, okay, I'm going to need a transport for logs probably. Like I'm just looking through like the different equipment that I could buy. I'm like, I'm going to need one of those. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But then when I went around and tried to cut trees down, it told me I wasn't allowed to cut any trees. And I was like,
Yeah,
what?
was it not your?
Are these
fault
not
'cause it
my
wasn't your
trees?
farm, right?
Yeah, because you have
Yeah.
also you have to buy land first. So you have to buy the land, which
Oh,
I had no idea. We have to actually go to the map and like buy a plot, and then
That's
you have
just
to
cutting some
plant
other guy's
trees.
trees down. What are you
Yeah.
fucking doing?
yeah, and then you have to plant trees, I guess, and let them grow. So then you could
Yeah.
cut them down. So I needed to buy a tree planter. I was like, oh,
Did
I
you
got to buy
see-
more shit.
Speaking of like what you need to buy, did you see that there were maybe there was one for forestry? I don't know, but like in the
Yeah,
menus there were packs for if you wanted to be like a cotton farmer or an olive farmer, and they tell you in that olive pack what they recommend you buy in terms of tractor and processing machines and all this stuff.
Oh,
Right? So
I didn't see that.
So there might have been
specifically,
one
but
for
I saw there
forestry.
were categories like forestry. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna need this, this, and this, but I had spent like half my money before I knew like that I needed.
and they started you with
Oh,
like what 1.5 million euro or some shit. I don't remember.
and
what
I
it
had
was.
to buy like my land then, and I had to buy all this other shit. I was like, fuck, I was buying like equipment. So I guess, but
Yeah.
if you go to the help menu, it does tell you kind of everything you need to do Like I had to buy a planter with pallets of trees, and I had to load the pallets onto the planter. But I needed a tractor to pull and operate the planter. But then I thought I needed a forklift. It's
Text
really
help menus are so dumb.
Yeah. I thought I needed a forklift to like lift the pallets onto the planter. So I was trying for like an hour to lift with a forklift the planters onto the stupid thing when all you had to do was connect it to your fucking tractor and press Y beside the planter and it would just put it on. And I was like fucking around with a
even
forklift.
Even the tutorial wasn't great.
Oh my God.
Like
It was fucking ridiculous. I was like, I wasted about an hour doing that.
I got to
and then I wanted to swap the planter out for a different type of tree. Nope. Can't do that. I looked it up. You apparently cannot do that. You have to plant all 2,000 poplars in this pallet and let it empty before you can load it with a different tree. So you would have to go buy a new planter and load it with a different tree, and change the trailer over. Like, I was like, what? That is not very simulator. That's so stupid. It's like, you can't change this pallet over.
Yeah,
anyway.
Freedom would be a good element to have for simulation, I guess.
All I can sum up is this. It was very tedious. And I mean, it's well done because it does take in all the market, the economy and all that for like buying and selling and like distribution and storing.
Like that,
You have to like do all of that.
It's like a
just
business.
Very tedious.
It's like a business, but like the even the tutorial wasn't great. So it's like, oh, I got to a spot in the tutorial. It's like it gives you like the green, like cylinder where to go, exclamation marks, and
what is that? I saw that a couple times. I was like,
yeah, so it's like where to go to the next tutorial spot, right?
Oh, weird.
So I did a few of them. I'm like, okay, cool. I chopped down, or I started harvesting my wheat, and then I started, digging the dirt in the field, ready for the seeds. I got to that part. Cultivating. So I cultivated the field.
So you created a field.
And it's like, go get a sewing machine and sow the seeds. I'm like, what the fuck is a sewing machine? Like, what does it look like? Right? Like, to me, a sewing machine mends my garments.
What am I supposed to do with this thing?
You're like
and I looked around and I couldn't see the green pillar. So I was like, what is a sewing machine? Like, I don't know what the fuck it is. So I'm like running around for like an hour and a half. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
He's just dragging a sewing machine on a rope behind a tractor through the dirt.
It was brutal.
a singer.
Like, if you're training me to be a farmer, say, oh, go get your sewing machine, especially in the tutorial. Show me a picture of what it looks like. You know what I mean? So I know what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck that is. That pissed me off. And I was like, So I eventually found out what it was. And I had to wait till my AI guy was done done cultivating the fields, because he did one field and then I couldn't see the second field because it was like over a little hill, I guess. And I thought he had done the first field. So I was like, okay, so what am I supposed to do next? But after wasting a bunch of time looking for this sewing machine, my AI helper finally finished the second field. Then the green thing popped up.
Oh, okay.
Over
Weird.
The sewing machine. I was like, I'm done.
I didn't have an AI guy. You know why? Because you can plant trees without a field. You can plant them without cultivating. You can just plant. I was like, oh, can I hire an AI dude? And I clicked on the thing to hire it, and it says, you don't have any fields. So there was an error. So I couldn't hire an AI guy because I didn't cultivate a field to plant my trees. I was just planting them in the ground.
Hiring AI workers is a cool feature. I like that idea, at least. That was cool, because you can't like do everything yourself in these if you have like massive fields or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could if you wanted to, maybe.
It would take forever.
But it would take forever.
Like, even cutting down the trees, I didn't plant any. I was just cutting down the trees that were on my property. I was like, oh, I had the truck that you go in and you unfold it, and it's got this giant saw thing on it, and you clamp onto the tree, and it just just cuts it, and it grabs it, and I bring it over here, and then it'll run it through and cut it at certain lengths. So I just create logs. So I just did that. I created a bunch of logs. I was like, okay.
That's cool.
And then I had to load the logs onto my transport to bring it down to the town to sell. And just doing that took forever. It was so tedious.
Like going to town?
No, like loading the logs onto my stupid transport. I had the little claw thing.
'Cause I had going to town was brutal. Like going to town to sell my wheat.
Video.
Oh my god.
Yes, and I had a video where I was like, all right, I sent them a video of me just picking up logs, putting on the thing, and it was in 300% speed, and it was still so slow. Like, it took forever. And then I drove off my lot, and my first corner, my whole truck just tipped over, and I was like, oh my god. And then I had to like use the arm to brought myself back up. It worked pretty well. And then I made 300 and something euros. My total time of like 3 hours playing this game.
Wow.
Pretty good.
300 euros?
I think so. I sold some logs. But I think like you have to wait for the logs to sell and I don't really understand the economy thing because you have to set to like distribution or storage or shipping. Like I don't really know what the fuck that means. So
Hire AI helper.
yeah, I don't know. I did make a small amount of money on the wood though.
I had an interesting experience with Farming Sim. So my friend Jason, Jagster21, shout out, buddy. He's always looking for a shout out. He's a huge Farming Sim fan, and he's logged hours and hours and hours and hours of gameplay with Steve, our other buddy. Yeah,
really?
He loves games like that where. Like Medieval Dynasty, he loved because it's like there's sandbox mode and you build things and you have to do everything yourself and collect things like resources and then use those resources, process them. He loves that stuff. Nathaniel, what were you going to say?
Wow. Is it co-op? Can you jump on your buddy's farm and
yes? So that's
work
what I'm
for
getting
him?
at. So that's my experience with this game. Is I was like, man, I did the same thing as Jonathan. I jumped in on medium mode. I didn't do easy because I was like, whatever. I'll try like the middle of the road experience. And I landed beside a barn in the middle of this like rural town. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, where am I? And I start going up to like the barns and there's like vehicles in them. I go up to the crops in the farmlands and it's like owned by Leon something. I was like, shouldn't these be my crops? But then I didn't know you had to like buy land and whatever, right? So I was like, this is so confusing. And then Jason saw that I was playing it on Xbox. And he invited me to a party. And he's like, how are you liking it? And I was like, I just jumped in and I'm confused as shit. So I told him what I did and that I didn't do the tutorial thing. He's like, oh, Daniel. He's like, you should have played the tutorial. So he had this idea. He's like, why don't I invite you to my farm? And then I'll just show you around my farm and we'll do things together. So it'd be like you came to my farm in real life, and I'd just show you a day in the life.
That's
I was
cool.
like, I like that idea. Okay, so we'll try it.
That's funny.
So he invited me to his farm, and I spawn on his porch or whatever, and we're running around together on his farm, and he's showing me everything. Like he had like silos full of grain, he had like chicken coops, he had fields full of, I think it was sunflowers was his main thing. I don't know why, because he also plays them with his kids, right? And his daughter thought sunflowers were pretty, so he planted those and he cultivates those or he harvests those. And he had like apiaries, like bee farms, and Steve beside him in the next neighboring plot had like lambs or sheep or whatever. He was showing me around, and I drove his tractor. He had horses, which was kind of cool because obviously his daughter, horses, and you can ride them around and get their happiness up to 100% or whatever. So you exercise them.
Wow.
So the first thing we did was he's like, okay, Dan, so we're going to harvest some, we're going to take some of this honey. And he had like pallets of honey that he, I guess, had harvested from his bees. He's like, so get on in that forklift there and we'll get that honey onto the back of the pickup truck and we'll go down to the store and we'll sell it. I was like, okay, cool. So
it's like hiring this.
I got in his
idiot.
forklift. But the problem was he was playing on cloud streaming. So and it was so laggy for some parts. And I was trying to like operate the forklift, and sometimes it was working. We actually didn't have a problem with this, but I picked up the pallet with the forklift and I put it on the back of the truck, and I would bring the forks down too much, and the back of the pickup truck would be like, "Wah!" I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, it's like
It was like really weird and awkward to do, but we got it on the back and we drove all the way down. He's like, "Okay, you drive the truck." So I got in the truck and it started lagging, like rubber banding everywhere, and I ran over a bunch of his fucking his sunflowers and just totaled them. And he was like, "No." And I think I took a picture or a screenshot or whatever, and there's just like dirt tire treads through the friggin' the
this isn't Grand Theft Auto, Dad. My sunflowers.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I didn't want to. It was an accident. But we got down to the store, and you can like reverse onto because there's like a little blip with an icon that says where you can back in your product, and it'll just like automatically take it from you. So I backed in the pickup truck there, and we sold it. Nice. So yeah, you can produce all this stuff and sell it to, and there is like a either a distribution thing or a selling thing, and I think you can choose whichever you want to do. If you want to do distribution, you have to take it yourself to the stores and sell. I think there's also a way where it just automatically sells to certain stores. I don't know for sure. I think that's what he said. I'm not sure, but we also cut down some trees with a chainsaw. Like you change your hand tool.
Yeah.
And he's like, just cut this tree down. So we did, and I cut it down, and you can like, you pick up the logs, you put it on the truck, I guess, and you bring it somewhere else. But we didn't use like machinery for it. It was just a chainsaw.
I used the chainsaw to cut my logs in half so they could fit on my transport because they were too long.
Yeah, you have to. But we also, he also was like, okay, so now I want you to get in the harvester and come with me, and we'll set it up. So I harvested like a few rows of his sunflowers, which was really cool because you have to first you harvest when they're ready to go because he fast forwarded to harvest season, and because you can do that, you can play with time. You can, I think, you can time speed. You can speed time up, right? So you're not just friggin' waiting forever. Unlike Flight Simulator, I guess. So yeah, I harvested a bunch of his sunflower seeds, and we did that, and then we grabbed the cultivator and we dragged that thing along it. So after you harvest, the soil is a mess, so you have to like turn it over and refreshen it out before you can. Yeah. So that's what the cultivator is doing, I guess. So we did that together, and we also weeded. And there's a process to all this. So before you seed, you have to like de-rock. So you have to go around with this giant rock thing, which picks up rocks through the soil. Then you can like weed. Then you can plant and do all this shit, right? Then you have a roller. After you plant the seeds, you got to roll it so that it tamps the seeds down into the dirt. Pretty cool. And you got to get machinery for all of this. He was showing me like his lineup of machinery, and I was like, holy fuck. I was like, do you have like an order in which you use these, and that's how you set it up? He's like, oh no, everything's all over the place. I was like, okay. But
wow.
I attached the stone lifter to the tractor, and it was still laggy as shit. So I was just driving really slowly to one of his fields, and I had to pass the bee farm, the apiary. And I dragged the stone lifter through the apiary. He's like, my bees! Oh, man, I laughed so hard. But it was fine. I don't think it did anything. But that was like my experience. It was kind of cool because I saw a fully developed farm instead of just kind of starting in the middle of nowhere and having not enough time to get there.
That sounds much better.
He gave me the opportunity. It was fun. It was cool. It was an experience to do because I didn't know at first that you could do the co-op thing. So that's what I decided to do and see how it all. And it's cool.
Cool.
He spends a lot of time selling shit and like he's got strawberries and little greenhouses and stuff too. It's fun. I don't think I'd play it as much as I would Flight Simulator, you know.
The visuals were pretty basic. Also, we talk about the movie talk, but the equipment models are where most of the time was spent, and you can obviously tell. But like the terrain didn't look, and there was a lot of motion blur.
Yes, especially on the Series S, and the amount of pop-in on the Series S was redonkulous.
Yeah, like the visuals are. It looked a bit dated, but like the models of the equipment were nice.
Yeah,
and I convincing as a sim. Yeah. Convincing as a sim, yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. Very tedious. Yeah. Economy, supply and demand, everything that you would probably do in real life. but it's like farm work. It's very much farm work.
Yeah, I liked the feeling when I was driving the tractor down my wheat field and harvesting the wheat, like just seeing the wheat disappear, like cleaning the field.
Yeah, it was satisfying.
That was very satisfying. I like that.
I didn't get to that point.
I drove my slow ass tractor down the street just like in real life. People stuck behind me in traffic. I was like, oh my God, driving this stupid, and it takes forever. It took me forever to get to town.
Travel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I drove to town looking where to drop off my wheat.
And you can get the things delivered. You could tell your vehicle to like come here, come back.
Oh,
and you
so I
just wait for it.
drove to town, delivered my wheat, got paid, went to the store, bought more seeds.
Although it's not very
back.
realistic because I drove over multiple people and they just went right through my vehicle. Not very realistic.
Imagine they just
Grand
squash on
Theft
the
Auto,
floor.
much more realistic.
The cops are after you.
Do you feel you could be a farmer after playing this?
I always felt like I could be a farmer.
I
After
mean,
playing Harvest Moon games.
I was we were driving to Nate's place yesterday, and he's like in the middle of farmland. And after playing this game, I was looking at everything. I was like, I kind of have, even just in those couple hours, a deeper appreciation maybe of what they have to do on a daily basis, and on a monthly basis, a yearly basis.
We know
was
many
just like-
farmers, dude. We grew up knowing farmers.
I feel like it'd
doing
be
that shit.
cool. Maybe
Lots of hard
if you
work.
loved that type of yeah.
But they're not the ones playing this game.
but I kind
They
of
don't have time for playing this game.
after watching Clarkson's Farm on Amazon Prime, like getting onto the farm, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's like, and then I would just keep thinking of Clarkson's Farm. Like I kind of knew, I didn't know what a sewing machine was, but I kind of knew like what the tractor did. You know, after you harvest your wheat, you have to pour the wheat from the harvester into like a big tractor to take the wheat somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like that was cool. I drove my tractor up and I drove my tractor up and the little spout came out, started pouring out the wheat into the holder, and then I was like, yeah, drive that back. That was pretty sweet.
All right,
Yeah,
so
because
you
it has
had
like the
fun.
arm.
I had more fun in Farming Simulator than I did in Plane Simulator.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I had no fun playing this game. Zero fun.
Oh, come on.
Not an ounce of fun playing this game. But you know,
I only
I'm sure-
had fun because I was playing with Jason. That's
Yeah,
the only
exactly.
reason, because we were doing stuff together. That was it. I don't think I would have had fun doing this solo.
Maybe if you did it with a friend like from scratch, it might be funner. But man,
I liked
I want my 3 hours back.
I liked the business aspect of it too. That could be also why it was more churning in my brain, like the numbers and all that.
There's
kind of
definitely
stuff.
more things
like,
to
oh.
do than in like plane simulator or
Yeah.
flight simulator, where
Oh, yeah.
you're just sitting there flying.
Flight
but-
Simulator is
yeah.
boring as fuck.
It is very tedious. Like
Yeah, well, so is Harvest Moon. What I like about Harvest Moon is it takes all that away. It's
Get
just like
bullshit
plant
away,
crop,
and you just have
plant crop, water
like
crop.
throw crop in bin, get
Yeah,
money,
exactly.
go give presents to girls.
Yeah.
Was there? I don't even remember hearing any music in
No,
in
I
Train,
didn't either, no.
in Farming
Just the
Simulator.
sound of the mountain.
the nature. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my god. So we have Nathaniel said it was fun. I said no fun. Daniel, you said slight no fun.
I don't think it would be
Solo.
fun solo. I had
Yeah.
fun co-op though, so it's hard to say. I'm in between there.
Well, you had fun.
It's convincing
So-
as a sim. Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. There you go. Let's move on to Train Sim World 3 by Dovetail Games. Now, I noticed a bit. This game was kind of buggy in my
Yes.
tutorials.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed the same thing. I was going through the tutorials, how to operate the
one
controls and stuff, and a lot of my input wouldn't register like on the controller. I
You
had
had
to
to be-
manually grab the lever and like
Yes.
press it.
Yeah, and I had
Instead
to
of-
be so precise on each fucking switch, like trying to get the stick to get right on the notch to flip it. Man, it drive me crazy.
Really?
Oh,
But
I
like
didn't have any
sometimes, like I'm
troubles with
supposed to press. It says press right trigger, and I would be pressing it. It wouldn't fucking do anything, and I had to go actually onto the control and switch it manually for
Yeah.
it to work.
I found that was different between trains too, like in between the train models.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like the
And when I
one
was
train
learning
was
to
super
train
easy, like
the
super
junctions?
easy. Yeah.
When you were switching the junctions, was that working for you? Because at the first
I went to the
mission
map.
it wasn't working.
view.
I was clicking on the junction and it wouldn't do anything.
That's
and it
because you
wouldn't progress me
because
in the quest.
the precision, you had to zoom in and get your
I did
right
though,
on there.
but it wouldn't do anything. I had to restart the fucking mission
And then it worked.
to get it to work. Yeah, it was very dumb. And like the mission
I had
where
one bug for that.
Yeah.
I had to restart, and then it worked fine.
yeah, that happened to me multiple times. The mission where I had first had to take a loop of the track and it told me like everything to do. I followed the instructions to a T, and the train did not move.
Yep.
It did nothing. It just sat there. And then I restarted the mission and it fucking worked. And I'm like, what the fuck is this game? Like,
yeah, that
but
drove me
then I
crazy.
realized later that there was a light for if the train has power or not at the third rail. And it was on, meaning that I did not have power. Which the next mission I did taught me how to correct that, which is odd that it even happened in the first place. Like, how did that become on where I didn't have power? But there's a button you have to press called like shoes down or something to lower the thing to connect to the third rail, and then the light goes off, and then you can take off. It was super weird.
What I found weird was the I didn't know what one to do next, so I did the beginning one, and it was pretty easy.
Like some training.
Yeah,
around
and then the
yard.
next training thing, there was all these switches that they didn't tell me about in the last one, so I didn't know if I was at the right one, but it was a different train model. I go
That's
up
probably
and
why.
I
Because there's
jump
different
in.
training. There's training for each train model.
Oh man! And then I sit down in this train. I'm like, okay, so I do what I learned in the first beginners thing. So I did all that shit, and the train wouldn't move. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake! It's like, and it didn't really tell me what to do. So I had to Google it. It's like, oh, for this train model, you have to switch this fucking thing up. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, I see it.
Pan
And
up, shoes down.
No, it wasn't
it?
the shoes. It was something else. And I flipped that switch, did all the brakes and stuff. I still could not get this fucking train to move. So I was like, no, next train. So I jump into the next train. And it's like, oh, before you sit down, there's like there's like a wall of switches behind the conductor's seat, right? And then it took me over to these switches, and I was like switching things
I
on
didn't
and
see
off.
those.
And then before I sat down, I had to turn keys and flip all these
Master key,
switches.
man.
Oh my god! And then I
key.
sat down.
The forward gear. You had forward, neutral, reverse.
I couldn't get a train to move unless it was like the first intro train model. Like every other train,
Canadian
I
one
could
that was
not.
built in
I
London?
could not get it.
The shed?
yeah.
I remember what
I was
it's
like, this
called.
is fucking
I like that
stupid.
one.
This is fucking dumb. I did like the guy who talked to me like an old grandpa voice. He was pretty cool.
Was he British?
I had a woman.
No, I had some old dude.
Yeah, me too.
Really? The old dude? No,
I had the
didn't.
woman. I did all the basic like modules at first, and there was only a handful of them. And then they put you in the basic training for that old tin red roof fucking thing that was like super old. I think it was like the 90s. Actually, it wasn't that old. It was built in like the 1996 or some shit.
Yeah.
And it had the position, the throttle on the right with
Yes.
the forward reverse thing underneath it, and the brake. What do you call those levers to your left there? So I
you had
like that one
separate
'cause-
brake and power. Because on the more modern trains, it's all in
Yes,
one.
they're together. It's one
Yeah.
thing, which I liked. So I did fine with the training in that old Canadian model, and they get you to just move back and forth, whatever, and then set your speed limit, and then. What I did like about the game, at first I was a little bored. That's why I kept saying, like, I don't know if I can play more than an hour of this. But then I found myself playing like 2-3 hours. I was like, what am I doing?
Did you do the high speed run mission?
I don't know.
The DLCs,
I don't know if it was
the different DLCs?
I tried.
did a train. I did like a route in England. It was it was high speed.
Yes,
But
that
I
was the one
stopped
I
it.
was playing at, and I was like actually
Yeah.
playing it for like an hour and a half, and I was like, what am I doing?
It was a lot. It took me 40 minutes to do this whole route. I think that's
Yeah.
what the time elapsed at the end was. And
Yeah.
but yeah, that's where I noticed that the throttle and brake, like the power and brakes, were in one on that one. It was a blue and white train.
Yeah,
It was
that
like
one.
I don't remember
Blue
the
and yellow.
class or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, like I had a glitch. I did have a bug where they wanted you to back up after you hit a certain checkpoint.
Oh, yeah.
Reverse and then connect to the what do they call them?
Okay.
Cabooses.
The caboose.
Goodbye.
The caboose.
You had to connect it in the back, but I was like, how am I gonna know? And I didn't know you could like when I hit right stick for outside camera, I didn't know you could move it around. So I thought, oh, this is my reverse camera. It's the camera on the side of the train, which doesn't tell me anything.
You can move it completely freely.
Yeah. So
even while you're like driving. Yeah, that was cool. I actually did that one. That was like the high-speed run, it was called.
It was relaxing. I found that one really, I don't know. Maybe that's why
that's what
made me like my experience. I was like, oh, okay, we stop here, open the doors.
Yeah, open the doors, let people
come in. Close the doors, and we're off. I had a lot of fun doing that one. So, and then I started thinking, should I be a train conductor? Should I apply to get some train conductor?
It seems to be very easy. Like you literally just press a button. There's no steering wheel.
Well, because you're not doing anything. You're just kind of
just altering the
controls.
Speed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just braking. But like I still couldn't. It's like take off the brake and then put on the other brake. Take that brake off.
You just have to feel it out for slowing down and stopping at the right time. You apply a little bit of brake, and a lot of it is coasting because you can just coast, and the train doesn't slow down because it's on rails. You know what I mean? And there's like I don't know, and it's so heavy, and there's no real resistance. So
eventually
you can just
it would
coast.
It's just it takes a long time.
Very, very slowly. Yeah. So you just have to apply
the direct brakes
amount of weight
and the auto brakes were confusing on that one model.
Yeah.
The direct, like turn on direct brakes and use that. And I was like, what? There's auto brakes and there's direct brakes. So it's like you had manual control over direct, I think. But direct also applied to just your locomotive, not the things behind it or something. I don't remember how that worked, but a little confusing there.
Oh, I'm not sure.
But once I got to that England train, I was like, this is cool. And it started raining. I was like, wiper control, intermittent. It's like, it was sweet. I ended up liking it because of that stupid mission that I did where I had to drop a bunch of people off. And
I was going, you go to the next stop. It's like, okay, what do we do? I'm 2 minutes behind here. I was 2 or 3 minutes behind because I sat there with my doors locked and I thought they were open and I was waiting for passengers to load, but it wasn't loading because the doors were closed. And I was like, oh, fuck, my doors are closed. I was sitting there for 3 minutes. I'm behind schedule by 3 minutes. So I had to bomb it. I had to bomb it on the next run over the speed limit. And and then I ended up like on time after. And I was like, yeah, we're on time. See that? I'm like, Pam, 30 seconds early. I'm 30 seconds early. I'm just sit here and wait for everyone. It's like wait for this time and then depart. I'm like, will do. I'm on schedule. And I was just doing that for a while. Yeah. And I was just doing that for a bunch. It was so dumb though. I'm just like, what am I doing? You just sit there.
Yeah. I just found it relaxing. And
that's with all of these games.
Yeah. It is kind of relaxing. And
Flight
I was like,
Sim was the most stimulating.
I like Flight Sim. Yeah.
It should be called Flight Stimulator. That's what it should be called.
Flight Simulator.
Because it was the most like, I feel like I was the most tense playing Flight Simulator because I was trying to hit those objectives. Whereas like Train Simulator, I was just like, I could have read a book while doing it. Just like,
exactly.
Stop, slow down.
You just literally sit there. I went to take a piss. While my train was headed to the next station. I was like, oh, I'm going to take a piss. And I came back and it was exactly the same as when I left it. I just like, because the next stop is like 8 minutes away. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just going to sit here for 8 minutes. Yeah, but I did this one.
It's a good game. It's a good game for people who, you know how there are people there who love trains? People out there who just like obsessed with trains?
Yes, absolutely. They would love it. They would love it.
I was like, not for me, more for the train enthusiast. I am not that.
Yeah. Okay, I drove this one mission that was like 86 kilometers. That was the whole mission. But I guess as part of the mission, something with the train was going wrong, and it asks you to stop at this certain place.
In the tunnel?
No, it wasn't in a tunnel.
Was that in a tunnel?
No. But it didn't even let me get to the place that it stopped.
Oh.
Like it said, stop over there, five like wherever it is, like 5 miles away. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that when I get there. But then it started stopping the train automatically on its own, and it was fucking beeping at me. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it stopped 500 meters before the stop checkpoint. And it wouldn't let me turn it on and move forward. Like, it wouldn't let me do anything because of this fucking beeping air thing. And it just kept beeping.
But could you continue? Did it?
No.
So it couldn't continue the sequence because you didn't get to the checkpoint?
Yeah, it stopped me before that. Like, I couldn't put any controls in. I took the brake off. I put it... Like, it was... And that's when I stopped playing. I was like, this is fucking dumb.
Okay, interesting.
But, yeah. And that was on some high speed fucking German
Oh yeah.
train. It was going like 250 kilometers an hour.
Well,
Flying.
that happened on the English train.
Really?
Where I think you're in, I don't know where you are or whatever. But at one point, it's funny because I was about to turn the game off. I was like, okay, so you just drive from station to station, load people up. But then as soon as I thought that, it was like we headed it under a tunnel, and it was like emergency stop applied, emergency brakes, apply emergency brakes immediately or whatever. I was like, what? I was like, okay. So I pulled the brakes, and it was like I got a message saying one of the passengers is communicating that one of the back doors is opened during travel, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, it was like beep 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 beep. Like it was like, please go
weird.
inspect the door.
Did you
and
press
close it. And I was
something, or
like,
did
what
it
the hell?
automatically happen?
No, it did it automatically as just kind of part of the quote unquote mission. So I went back there. I had to close the door, wait for it to close. You're like, okay, so you head back up into the control room, and then you get back going. So it was like they throw in these little things maybe so it's not so boring. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I had thought about that turning it off just before that happened. I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of cool. But then I just
Someone
finished
jumps
it because I was
in
like,
front
well,
of the train. It's like, oh fuck.
there is a warning.
Imagine.
There's a jumper.
Oh,
my
okay.
God.
What about the visuals? Nothing special on Xbox. I played on Xbox for this because I don't know why. I just wanted to sit on the couch and play it. Nothing special on Xbox One, tell you that.
Nope.
But I
The
don't
train
think
models are still
too...
nice though.
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, the train is like that's where they concentrate on it. But like the environments were just not very. They were very bland, like repeating textures everywhere. Lots of motion blur though, which kind of made it look a little more realistic. On
Yeah,
the
when the trains go by you, when you're that was really
immediate
cool.
vicinity. Lots of motion blur, so it did kind of look realistic. But there were some points when I was getting like 10 FPS. when I'm climbing into my
on the
cockpit,
1X.
it's like that. I was like,
Ugh.
On
Really?
that German train. Yeah, on my German
Oh,
train.
weird.
But I have an old Xbox thing. But it looks like a spaceship.
Oh,
dude.
right.
That German train I was in, everything was white. It was all white.
Nice.
The dash was white, and these
I didn't go
white
in that one.
levers. It looked like a fucking spaceship, and the thing just flew. And the thing was talking to me in German. I had no idea what it was saying. I was like, that's the one that was beeping at me. I was like, man, I don't know what the hell's happening. All right, convincing as a sim. Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd
I
say
believed
so.
I was driving a train. I think I could drive a train now. I could drive
Me
that
too.
train, 100%.
In fact, I
100%.
just
Not me.
applied to Via Rail.
Like, how many hours do you have in Train Simulator?
So you feel you could operate a train after playing this? I feel I could.
Nope.
Again, it's
not
the
me.
same thing. Now you know, at least you know. Like there were still a lot of in the English train. There were still a lot of knobs and switches. I was like, I looked at them, but I don't know what they do. But I knew, I understood the concept of some throttles are combined with the brake control, and yada yada yada. So that was
The
kind of
forward,
cool. And that I
reverse.
didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that's how trains work. That they had a switch, which makes total sense. There's no like gear that you. I mean, I guess it is technically the gear, but I didn't know it was kind of as streamlined as that. So that's kind of cool, and you'd know to look for that. But I think even just between the two trains, they're wildly different between how you would start them up and stuff. I think I feel like that would be a little bit crazy. You'd need training on all that and stuff. But I felt it was convincing. I was like, this is cool. It makes sense. I wonder what a real train conductor would say. I had fun. I thought it was fun. At first, I was like, "This is so blah," but once I did the drop off, the
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that, the mission or scenario. I think that's what the term they
Scenarios.
use.
Well, there's ones you
I
can
had fun.
actually do a full day of like scheduled runs. Like that was
Yeah.
one of the missions you could just do. Like you have to schedule a run. I mean, it's boring, but Farm Simulator was tedious and boring. This is just boring without tedious. So it wasn't quite as bad. But I did
Yeah,
have some fun doing the little drop-offs and stuff. But like you can only do it for so long. Like, I mean, the train drives itself. The thing drives itself.
yeah.
And the scenery isn't even that good. So, like, I would way rather play Flight Simulator because the scenery is just better.
yeah.
So I'm going to say not very fun.
Nope. Zero
No.
fun.
Nathaniel had zero fun.
fun.
I had fun. I had a bit. I didn't have as much fun as Flight Simulator. I definitely had probably more fun than Farming Simulator. So I still had fun once I did this. Once I did the scenario in England with the English.
Okay,
thing.
so
I will say I had fun
Okay.
after the training.
So that being said, after all these are done now, what we got to say which one is best.
Do we just
I
go
think
around and do our final verdicts each?
I think the clear
Yeah, maybe
winner
each, like-
is
I think Flight Simulator is the clear winner here, but Nathaniel didn't have fun playing Flight Simulator.
I don't think any of these games are for me. I'm just too impatient. Like
I did express some reservation before we.
if I
played
had
all
to
of
pick
these.
one to play over the others, it would probably be Farm Simulator because it's
Yeah.
the easiest and less control simmy.
Easiest? What are you talking about?
Yeah, because I don't have to. When I jump into each tractor, I don't have to dial and switch and pull levers, and I just
You
drive
hold
the
right
fucking
trigger, yeah.
tractor. You know what I mean? Like
That's true, I guess.
these aren't for me. These aren't for me. I don't like this shit. I don't like it at all.
Okay, well, I think Flight Simulator is the best
yeah.
one.
I think I knew that going into this. I was like, well, I'm probably still going to enjoy Flight Simulator.
Yeah, but that's
more
because
than
I
all of
like
these.
planes more than I like fucking trains, and I like flying more than
Yeah.
doing farm work and cutting down trees
Sure.
and stacking logs or sitting on a train and reading a book. They must get a lot of reading done, train conductors.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you're interested in any of these games, hopefully we kind of laid it out there, what they're all about.
There's so many more too. Like we just chose.
I know,
that's the
we just
tip of
chose
the
these
iceberg
three.
on
Yeah.
Game
Based,
Pass.
but
That's another
based,
thing.
But based on these three, I don't think I'll ever play another one. You know what I mean? Like I just can't
Lawnmower Sim.
do that. I just can't sit there and do nothing. I can't
Yeah.
sit there and be bored playing video games. Like I cannot do it. I can't.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the answer to are sim games fun? Maybe. The answer is maybe.
Depends on who you are, I guess.
Yeah.
You could say.
Who you are as a human being. Yeah,
As a
I
human
feel
being,
like.
yeah. And your interests, right?
Not
Like-
a lot of fun here.
Yeah. I'm not interested in planes. I'm not interested in trains. I'm not interested in tractors. You know what I mean? Like I'm not interested.
What would a simulation be?
A
that
video
you are
game
interested in?
simulator. Nathaniel would like gaming simulator, where you sit there and play a game, playing a game
of a
where you
game.
have a controller and you have to press the button.
Now-
This is really realistic. This is really
See-
realistic.
I would have liked to try what is it? PC building simulator.
Right.
I would have loved to try that, but I would have
car
had to pay
mechanic
for that.
simulator.
Yeah, car mechanic
I
simulator.
have it on Epic Games actually.
Oh right, yeah.
But the PC gaming simulator, I have to pay like $50. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Ugh.
Oh, it's an actual thing then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, I would like
should
to
get that to learn
to
some
hear
stuff.
from people who play these games on a regular basis.
Or I would have liked porn producer simulator. I would have liked that one too.
that might be on
Yeah.
Steam. There's a lot of those weird games on Steam. But yeah, I want to hear if anyone is playing these games, like playing Flight Simulator on a regular basis. Like, what kind of like flights are you doing? Are you doing like long flights? Like I saw a guy on YouTube who did a video of his flight that he did from like Boston to San Diego or something, and he did the whole thing. I guess
Ugh.
like that's got to be 6 hours or something. And
that
but
would
he
be
obviously
5.
only showed
think.
the takeoff and landing, but he had like $100 worth of graphics mods or something on it, so it looked amazing.
$100.
Like it looked so yeah. I don't know if you can buy mods in the store for the game like that
On
make the
PC?
graphics better.
PC.
Yeah, he had like a 3090 or something, 4K. It looked really nice, looked very real, and he showed all these different cameras, switching the camera angles. He had a Thrustmaster throttle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Joystick.
Like a peripheral.
Yeah. It looked really cool. But I mean, that's what you do if you're into that thing.
Yep.
If you're into
Yeah, I feel like
train
there's
simulator,
no in between. You're either
You
not
must have a
interested
nice-
at all, like Nathaniel, or you're super gung ho. Because why else would you play these games if you're not super into flying and farming and train driving?
yeah. Okay. Well, then we can put it to rest for the person who's just hovering wondering about it, there you know. Then you're probably not going to enjoy
Exactly.
it.
If you're hovering, then you're probably
you're
not
like,
gonna.
farm simulator? Wonder what this is all about. Yep. It's exactly what it fucking sounds like. All right.
You'll either put 2 hours or 2 million hours into it, just to like see, if
Do
it's
you
for
love
you. I
doing
don't know.
tedious, busy work? Then
Then this game is for you.
I think Dad ruined that for us when we were growing up.
yeah.
Just making us do random shit all the time just to get us off the computer.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this week's episode. We want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen, and I hope we provided some insight about these simulators. And we assume that most simulators are the same. You know what I mean?
Much. Yep.
Like, we had to just choose 3. But that's we gave you the story and the scoop. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you enjoyed the video. Give us a rating review on Spotify or Apple if you could. Helps us to get out there to more listeners who may enjoy the show. And you can tweet us, comment on the video, leave us a DM, Facebook, Instagram. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks again, everyone, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Peace.
See ya.